Chapter 14 of the Way of Perfection. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Anne Boulay. The Way of Perfection by St. Teresa of Avila, translated by the Reverend John Dalton. Chapter 14. How important it is not to allow any to make their profession whose disposition is the contrary of what has been mentioned before. I believe that God highly favors him who has made good resolutions, and therefore we must examine what intention she has who is admitted. It must not be for her own convenience only, as is the case with many nowadays, though our Lord can perfect this intention, if the person have a good understanding. Otherwise, on no account let her be admitted, for she will neither understand herself how she comes into religion, nor will others afterwards, who would direct her better. Generally speaking, they who have this defect always think that they understand what is best for them, better than the wisest superior. This is a disease which I consider incurable, for it is very seldom without carrying malice with it. Where there are many religious, it may be tolerated, but among so few as we are, it cannot be endured. When a strong understanding begins to like what is good, it adheres firmly to it, because it sees that this is its most secure course, and should it be of no use towards advancing much in virtue, it may be useful for giving good advice and for many other things, without tiring any one. But when a person has no understanding, I know not in what she can be useful in a community, and one may do much harm. This defect is not soon discovered, for many speak well and understand little, others again speak little and not very elegantly, yet they have a good understanding. But there are others also, who living in holy simplicity, know little of the business and customs of the world, but they are skillful in discoursing of God. There is great need, therefore, of strict examination before they are admitted, and long trial before they are professed. Let the world once know that you have power to reject them, that in monasteries where austerities are practiced, there are many occasions in which this must be done, and then, when this power is made use of, they will not consider it an injury done to them. I speak thus, because these times in which we live are so miserable, and so great is our weakness, that though we have the command of our predecessors for it, this is not sufficient to make us neglect observing what the world at present has taken for an honor, viz., not to grieve our friends. But we allow virtuous customs to be forgotten, in order to avoid giving a slight offense, or to prevent any ill rumors, which indeed are a mere nothing. God grant that those who admit such may not have to pay for their fault in the next life, for we always have some pretense or other, by which we persuade ourselves, that the persons may be admitted. This is a matter which each one ought to consider for herself, and recommend to God. It should also animate the superioress, hence it is so very important for all. I therefore beg of God to give you light therein. For my part I consider, that when the superioress, without affection or passion, aims at the good of the house, God will never allow her to fall into error. But if she pay attention to this false tenderness and foolish punctilios, I am persuaded there will always be some errors. End of chapter 14.